Welcome to today's Bat Advent Calendar, where we won't really be talking about bats at all, but we'll be talking about bat flies. If you don't know what a bat fly is, lucky you. But essentially a bat fly is an insect that parasitizes a bat, so bat flies can be found on the skin and in the fur of bats. And every one of us who's ever held a bat has probably come across a bat fly because they're so common and so widespread. And today's paper by Thomas Hiller and colleagues actually looked at the leg structure as an explanation of host site preference in bat flies. And what that means is essentially you can group bat flies into three different categories depending on where on the bat they live. First of all, you've got your wing crawlers. Wing crawlers are bat flies that live on the skin membrane of the wing where there's very little or no fur. And then you've got fur runners that live in the more densely furred areas of the body, but they'll run along the surface of the fur. And then you've got fur swimmers who also live within the fur, but they'll move within the fur if you disturb them. The authors of this paper looked at over 110 legs of bat flies and measured them to find out whether these different groups of bat flies also look differently and that would enable them to move differently. And indeed what they found was, for example, the wing crawlers, they have very short and very strong legs, and they move in a crab-like fashion along the membrane of the wing. The fur runners, the ones that move on the surface, have very long and thin legs, and they'll be incredibly fast if you're trying to catch them. And then the fur swimmers. The fur swimmers have a mix of both legs, so they have strong legs, but they're also very long. And the authors said that they move like velociraptors, with a reference to the Steven Spielberg movie Jurassic Park. It's in the paper. Essentially, the conclusion of this paper is that the bat flies are very well adapted to where on the bat they live. And the big take-home message for me was that I can now see a bat as something that is made up of at least 3 different habitats for a whole other species of animal. And that was it for today from me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the month and that we'll be celebrating the holidays soon.